Hello and welcome to this final video of the Burning Devotion Year of Blaze mini-series that I've been making since the start of the year. As we pretty much wrap it up with this off-script kind of like video that I want to do as kind of like a way of ending the mini-series here. It's just gonna be a bunch of bullet points of me going through this video and whatnot. And it's just me discussing about certain things, ideas that I did have down the line where I thought I could make them as kind of like a final video and whatnot, but I just couldn't find the time and the effort to kind of like put it into production and whatnot. And also discuss a couple other things as well that has happened since, you know, I started this. And yeah, so I've got a bunch of bullet points here. Let's go down. Starting with the 20th anniversary of Blaze the Cat. Yep. When this video is released, it'll be released on the initial day that Sonic Rush was first released for the Nintendo DS, with its first release being in the US on November 15th. So, yep, November 15th, 2025 marks the 20th anniversary of Sonic Rush, and thus the 20th anniversary of Blaze the Cat. Of course, Sonic Rush was the first to kind of like pioneer the boost mechanic in Sonic games for the foreseeable future, for a lot of things, or going into Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, so on and so, well, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, and thus, you know, such and such. But no, I always found it as the kind of like prominent thing for introducing us to a character that has, you know, so much potential that I'm surprised that they couldn't do anything more with her character for future games. Bar Sonic Rush Adventure, but I feel as though there's still that potential there for her in a future platformer Sonic game that I feel as though is just needing a good pitch to SEGA for. So, but you know, for fans like myself, we're gonna celebrate the anniversary our way, and of course I've been celebrating it my way with this little mini series. So again, happy 20th anniversary, Blaze. So let's go over the possible kind of like video ideas I did have in mind to kind of wrap up the Burning Devotion Year of Blaze mini-series that I was doing here. And the one that was on the top of my list was to do a fan version of the Completionist. I've been a big fan of the Completionist. I loved, you know, watching. I've been a fan of him since his original review and Completionist video of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which was his third video at the time, funnily enough. And it's kind of disappointing that I couldn't do that, because I've never actually properly sat down and completed Sonic Rush. I've beaten it multiple times, but the aspect of completing Sonic Rush by getting all the S ranks for both Sonic and Blaze, it is kind of challenging, actually, unless you know where everything is and know how to maximize the point values and doing it as fast as possible. Yeah, that would have been quite a task, but sadly I couldn't get, you know, that kind of like drive to get started on that. I was wanting to kind of like do it off stream, off of my streams. I wasn't gonna do it on stream. Whatnot. I was gonna do it off stream and record all the footage and then do, you know, scripting of it and whatnot. And it would be a fun kind of like fan fan version of the completionist, but I feel as though now, obviously, with Gerard back doing videos and whatnot, I think it's only fair to say that I'll hold that off for now. Maybe I might do it down the line as kind of like a, I don't know, maybe Blaze's 25th anniversary, maybe. Who knows? But for the moment, I'm just gonna keep that in the back burner. It's like, one day, you know, when I have the drive to do it, maybe I will complete Sonic Rush. Maybe. Another idea I had was doing a top 3 or top 10 version of Blaze's interactions in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I loved the interactions that Blaze had for rival, you know, the rival dialogue between characters, between her and other characters. And I wanted to, and there is actually a good number of them, so I could have made a top 10 of it. But of course I did do a top 3 with the, you know, the alternate versions of Blaze. And, you know, it was something, it was something. And of course it was topical because Sonic Racing Cross Worlds was kind of like the newest kind of like game released for the time. But now we have Sonic Rumble now officially released worldwide. And but trying to narrow it down again, just couldn't find the time. I could have got all the footage easily myself, but it was just like trying to sit down and kind of like going, which one is this one better than that one, and so on and so forth and whatnot. So it would have been quite a task again to do that. But hey, you know, tell me in the comments what's some of your favorite interactions with Blaze and other characters in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I can't think off the top of my head which one would be the best, because there's so many good interactions with Blaze and other characters, but on both sides of the dialogue kind of like chain. And yeah, so there's just so many to choose from. It's like I can't pick a good one, or I can't pick a best one really. Another video I had thought about was probably a follow-up from the most recent video that I did, which was how Sonic 06 damaged Blaze's momentum. And I think it was kind of like a follow-up of kind of like talking about how to rectify that blunder and try to how I would have kind of like done it. But I guess it's not really my idea, it's a lot of other people's ideas, because my friend Kev has a really good way of kind of like rectifying the kind of like issue of Blaze in Sonic 06, and so did a user who commented on one of my videos as well, Burger Wolf Brown, I think they were called, and they talked about, well, Burger, that is, they talked about having Blaze have a Sonic Shadow Generations kind of game, where the storyline would be having both the Soul Dimension Blaze and Sonic 06's Blaze intertwined, and the story of having the Soul Dimension, or you know, the canon Blaze, going up against this corrupted Blaze that was the one sealed in another dimension, and you know, sent or like is controlled under the influence of Iblis, because Iblis was sealed inside of her and stuff like that. That kind of like reminded me of a very bad movie, being that of The Flash. Anyone remember that one? Yeah, because what was it? Or even just the storyline of Flashpoint or whatever. where Flash would go back in time, change the past, come back to the future, screws up everything. But in the movie, The Flash, you know, the DC Studios movie. Spoilers, by the way, but really, you don't want to go watch it. It was terrible. The Flash, one of Flash's kind of like past selves is actually the villain to trying to stop himself and whatnot, but he had been getting corrupted and whatnot. He was like, you know, the second one or whatever. And yeah, it's like wasn't really handled well in that. But the idea of a game featuring Blaze going up against a corrupted version of herself, which is an alternate timeline, alternate dimension, kind of like Blaze, and designing her like the proto Blaze that was in the concept stages for Sonic Rush, which would definitely give us a whole full circle kind of like arc for the character's design. I feel as though that would be a fantastic way of kind of like wrapping up the whole debacle of Sonic 06, especially with Blaze. I feel as though, because Sonic Team and Sega want to keep Sonic 06 canon because we have Sonic Generations because of it. I feel as though if they want to keep it canon and want to make sense of it, then they should have a game where we have Blaze as a main playable character. And you can have Sonic as, obviously, as the true main character. But it would be a Sonic Rush idea where Sonic and Blaze, you know, team up again to take on this new threat who looks like Blaze and speaks like Blaze, but obviously, or looks similar to Blaze and speaks like Blaze, but is obviously the alternate version that was used in Sonic 06, and it wraps up that story. If we can get that from Sega and Sonic Team, then yeah, I feel as though that could possibly be one of the best Sonic games ever if they can nail the story writing well enough and make it make sense and make it obviously gameplay wise make it amazing, in the similar vein of like Shadow Generations because a lot of people love Shadow Generations, or the Shadow Generations version or side of Sonic X Shadow Generations. And yeah, but will they do it? We'll just have to wait and see. So, last couple of points that I want to talk about is the whole issue of pairing Blaze up with one character or another, because that was one thing that I was seeing a bit going around, and even in my comments and then on socials and stuff like that. A lot of people are in one of two camps. They're either Blaze X Silver or Blaze X Sonic, or Sonays or Sylvays or whatever. And here's the thing, guys. I'm not a shipper, and I just don't like to see characters being shipped by the fans when there's no definitive inclination that there is a romantic there are romantic feelings between characters. The only character pairing that I can obviously 100% say that yeah, you can ship these characters because it is clear as day that they are trying to have a connection. Well, at least it's one-sided. And have a connection with is Vector and Vanilla. You can do that easily because it is there. It was obviously used as a catalyst in Sonic X, and now it's becoming a catalyst in Sonic IDW, and in Crossworlds, it was obviously implied. It was teased in the rival dialogue where, Vector was panicking when Cream was telling Vector, and it's like, hey, if you let me win, I'll say something nice to Mother or whatever. And Vector was like panicking a bit, So that is a characteristic way of confirming that kind of like pairing, and you can go to town with that shipping pair. When it comes to Blaze and Silver and Blaze and Sonic, I do not see it. Like, there's only one instance where there could, not 100% definitive, could be a feeling that Blaze has some sort of kind of like affection towards Sonic, and it was in a panel of IDW where Sonic grabs Blaze's hand and she blushes. That's it. There's nothing else that would kind of like determine Blaze have a romantic interest in Sonic in any way, shape, or form. She doesn't say it flat out. She doesn't hint at it. She doesn't have a kind of like a girl talk with Amy about it, or girl talk with Cream or whatever. No, nothing. And the connection with obviously Blaze and Silver, again, it's like the Blaze that we have as canon has no connection to Silver whatsoever. So that is totally, just like, you can't make that connection. So it's just me. You can call me a stick in the mud, whatever, but I just don't see why fans want to ship Blaze with, either Sonic or Silver, or any other character for that matter. Because I just don't see it. And that was, gotta be another kind of like side, a little bit of another video that I wanted to kind of like do, but I feel as though, I don't think that's worth a full video in its own right. Just me. Lastly, I want to talk about recent comments made by Takashi Iizuka, where he was, I think it was himself who was put on record saying that he wants to do other future years off for other Sonic characters. And I think obviously right now with the next year or so, or like 2 years in fact, they have Sonic Movie 4 coming out in like 2027, and they're focusing, they would probably be focusing both Amy and Metal Sonic. So if Sega wanted to capitalize and do a year off, then yes, do a year off Amy or Metal Sonic, with the possibility that Sega will want to do a year of Blaze. You see, I thought this year would have been the opportunity, but then we didn't have anything that was focused on Blaze, or nothing that was coming out would be focused on Blaze. I mean, heck, this beanie here that I have on my head, this is fan-made. This is a fan-made beanie that I got at SonicCon. So, of course, like I mentioned in my first video of the year of, promoting a year of Blaze, make a bunch of merch. Sega didn't do any of that. In fact, as of this recording, Sega didn't announce anything Blaze related whatsoever to celebrate her year. or leading up to the celebration of her 20th anniversary. And then IDW, they obviously did all the kind of like 30th anniversary stuff. So I guess they were never gonna do anything other than 30th anniversary stuff for the brand, because you had Sonic, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, and all that. And then most recently, Team Chaotix. So the Chaotix got a 30th anniversary comic. But yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed that they couldn't do anything at all for Blaze to celebrate her year. But with Izuka's kind of like comments, will there ever be a Year of Blaze done officially by SEGA? My heart says yes, but my mind says no. That's how I truly feel on the matter, where it comes from, the horse's mouth of SEGA, where they just, can't, do it well. They I just have so much doubts over the brand now. It's like, and for them to kind of like want to do, anything for Blaze, I'm just very skeptical of the matter. So yeah, but hey, I've been wrong about certain things before, so never say never, I suppose. And that was what I wanted to talk about in this off-script video. So thank you everyone who watched all 3 videos of the Burning Devotion Year of Blaze, especially the first video. I think that obviously was the most popular one, because obviously it wasn't really a starting of the Burning Devotion series. And yeah, just doing this little mini series to kind of like get my thoughts out about Blaze, and giving Blaze her flowers effectively, because I mean, SEGA wasn't gonna do it, so yeah, I just thought of dedicating some of my time to give some attention to Blaze the cat, and show how underrated she is. And hopefully somehow SEGA will actually give us Blaze the Cat fans some sort of kind of like reward for our dedication, our devotion, our burning devotion to Blaze the Cat. So yeah, nothing more I can say, but I'll wrap it up by just saying, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments below, and as I said in prior videos, just keep showing your burning devotion. See you next time.